In the sun-kissed expanse of California, a visionary project known as the California High-Speed Rail is steadily taking shape. This publicly funded high-speed rail system, a testament to innovation and ambition, is poised to transform the state's travel landscape. By the end of 2030, the anticipation lingers for the inaugural operation of a significant portion of Phase 1, a 275-kilometer stretch that promises to redefine the concept of swift transit. Picture trains hurtling through the Californian terrain at a remarkable 350 kilometers an hour, marking a groundbreaking leap in high-speed rail travel within the United States. The heartbeat of this ambitious endeavor echoes with a mission to slash travel times, particularly bridging the expansive gap between the vibrant San Francisco Bay Area in the north and the bustling expanse of Greater Los Angeles in the south. Beyond the allure of speed, the high-speed rail carries the weight of noble intentions to curtail pollution, minimize carbon emissions, untangle the web of automotive and air traffic congestion, and breathe economic vitality into regions like the Central Valley. In the grand tapestry of California's transportation narrative, the California High-Speed Rail intertwines with a comprehensive rail modernization plan. This blueprint not only outlines the driving vision behind the high-speed rail, but also delicately explains the intricate dance of integration with other passenger rail services crisscrossing the state. As the tracks of progress weave through the diverse landscapes, the California High-Speed Rail emerges as a symbol of transformative connectivity and sustainable future journeys. Almost 6 decades ago, the world marveled at the birth of high-speed rail when Japan unveiled its bullet train during the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. The Shinkansen, as it's known, has safely transported over 6.4 billion passengers without a single accident. In California, the idea of high-speed rail started buzzing in the 1980s, around the time Europe began building its own speedy rail network. The California High-Speed Rail Authority got its start in 1996, but things only really kicked into gear when the state approved a $9 billion bond in the 2000s. The turning point came in 2008 and 2009, though it wasn't without controversy. Even now, people still debate its merits. Despite the debates, the project got off the ground and construction is underway. The plan? To create an electric train zipping from Los Angeles to the Central Valley and then up to San Francisco in just 2 hours and 40 minutes. The next phase will stretch even farther, from Sacramento to San Diego, covering a whopping 800 miles with up to 24 stops. But why does the train venture through the Central Valley? Well, back in 2008, the law said it must connect the cities of the Bay Area with the Central Valley, and then down to Southern California. Brian Kelly took the reins as chief executive officer in 2018. And according to Dan Richard, the former chairman, just linking LA and San Francisco was never the plan. Despite the controversies about the Central Valley route, it turns out that the region is home to about 4 million people, and if it were its own state, it'd be bigger than half the states in the United States. Sadly, it's also a region that's been somewhat neglected in the past. Now, when it comes to the trickiest part of building this high-speed rail, it's likely the tunnels. Yes, tunnels. The stretch from San Francisco to Los Angeles involves some challenging tunnel work. It won't be cheap, but building tunnels for trains isn't new. It's done all over the world. So despite the debates and challenges, the dream of a high-speed rail connecting California's key cities is on its way, one tunnel at a time. Imagine trains zipping through the majestic Swiss Alps, tackling challenges that seem unconquerable. If they can conquer that, we surely can figure out how to bring them to Tehachapi. That's why they're starting with the most affordable section, the one from Bakersfield to Merced. Right now, they're hard at work, constructing 119 miles, aiming to have a usable segment by 2030 or between 2030 and 2033. Critics call it a train to nowhere, but the people in charge found it quite amusing. Even the initial operating segment from Merced to Bakersfield connects 3 of California's fastest-growing cities. It's a familiar tune. Back in the day, they said the Golden Gate Bridge was a bridge to nowhere. Now, can you even imagine life without that bridge linking us to San Francisco? Back in 2019, CNBC visited the construction site near Fresno, and there's been noticeable progress since then. More bridges, cleared land, and roads shifted. From 30% design to 100%, the Central Valley has come a long way. Getting this far wasn't a breeze. Before Fresno's construction started in 2015, California's strict environmental reviews slowed things down. Bent Flyvbjerg, an expert on big projects, points out the challenge. Rail projects cut across a lot of land, stirring concerns among landowners. In America, we love our private property rights, so negotiating and fairly compensating for the needed land became a crucial step. Just for the environmental clearing process, they've spent $1.3 billion. Out of the 500 miles from LA to San Francisco, 422 miles have now been environmentally cleared. And by the end of 2023, they expect the entire 500 miles to be ready for the high-speed rail dream to become a reality. Imagine a project with a goal to connect 6 of the biggest cities in California, creating job opportunities and breathing new life into the historically struggling Central Valley. The impact? Remarkable. According to the Rail Authority, this endeavor has already brought about 10,000 jobs and a whopping $13.7 billion to California's economy from 2006 to 2021. Now, building high-speed rail in the U.S. is no small feat, especially finding workers with the right skills. That's where California High-Speed Rail steps in, offering a training program. Back in 2008, the same year Californians gave the nod to high-speed rail, China was already zooming along its first high-speed rail line. Fast forward, and they've laid down over 25,000 miles of rail. But in the U.S., things unfolded differently. Here in the U.S., local folks have a lot to say about infrastructure projects. Sounds great, right? Well, it does give everyone a voice, but when everyone has a say, harmonizing all those different interests gets tricky. So we end up seeing lots of debates about routes, political haggling, and lawsuits over environmental concerns or land rights. All this back and forth causes some pretty costly delays. Picture this. On the first 119 miles of the high-speed rail project, they had a whopping 12 lawsuits on their hands. People were questioning whether they could spend money on the right-of-way, arguing about compliance with environmental laws, and even challenging if it was the right use of bond money. But here's the kicker. The High-Speed Rail Authority came out on top in every lawsuit. Now they're down to just 3 or 4, and we're talking settlements on all of them. It's just part of the California process, you know? Moving through the environmental process can get a bit feisty. The initial cost estimates? Way off. With the surge in construction material costs and inflation, the project's price has shot up. The latest tag? A whopping $128 billion, putting it $100 billion in the red. And here's the kicker. They're not exactly sure where all that money is going to come from. The biggest hurdle? Money. California is covering about 85% of the cost through cap and trade and bonds, with the federal government chipping in around 15%. But they need more federal support to make this happen. It's not unusual for the government to fund mega projects. Take the Federal Highway Administration, which spent over $72 billion on highways in 2022. Now, the bipartisan infrastructure bill in 2021 allocated $66 billion to rail, the largest investment in passenger rail since Amtrak's creation. However, none of that money was set aside specifically for high-speed rail. Some critics want to keep it that way, arguing against federal money going into the project. Similar challenges aren't unique to the U.S. Britain's high-speed rail project faced controversies, delays, and costs skyrocketing over $100 billion. There's a stop-and-go approach to these projects causing headaches. California's actively seeking federal grants to finish the project, but it's a competitive field. Brightline West, a private company, is working on a high-speed rail project too, receiving bipartisan support for a $3.75 billion federal grant. Will California pull it off? Some worry about the construction choices. They think starting from LA and San Francisco would have been smarter. But the dream remains alive, with the hope that this mega project will be a part of history, something to share with future generations. Building the transportation of tomorrow is crucial. Electrified, renewable power, clean, fast rail is part of that future. It's happening worldwide, and it needs to happen in California too. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Blueprint Journeys for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.